Thank you for visiting our channel. The past few days have been quite a ride for the European residency by investment space. First, Ireland's Justice Minister Simon Harris announced the closure of the popular Irish IIP programme. Then later in the week, Portuguese Prime Minister António Costa confirmed his government would end the Golden Visa programme. At a press conference after a cabinet meeting dedicated to housing, he cited a fight against real estate speculation in its drive to address the lack of affordable housing. My name is Trafford, co-founder of Portico and Bridge, a firm that helps high net worth and ultra high net worth individuals just like yourselves achieve travel and financial freedom by becoming global citizens. Before we start our preparations for a wake for the Portuguese Golden Visa program, let us look at what will happen after the Prime Minister's announcement last week. To begin with, the government of Prime Minister Costa does not have the legislative competence to effect changes to the Golden Visa program. It can propose, but not change. The amendments have to be approved by Parliament, which is the competent legislative body to rescind or amend laws. Still, I will return to the process that will follow in a minute. However, during the press conference, the Prime Minister said those granted at their end are subject to evaluation. If it is exclusive for real estate, there will be renewals if the real estate investment is for permanent own housing for descendants or is placed on the rental market, and here we do not place any restrictions on being placed on the affordable income market. It's purely and simply placed in the rental market. This is what he said. So of all the things said during the press conference, to me this is the most concerning comment, not only for current Golden Visa holders but for all property owners in Portugal and throughout the Union. God forbid that a government of a European Union country will limit the fundamental human right of free enjoyment of one's property by dictating what he has to do with his property to be able to renew his Golden Visa permit. I am sure I am not the only one feeling this way. And this will be challenged in the Constitutional Court. Imagine you own a holiday home in the Algarve, and one fine day the Portuguese government decides that since you only use the property for vacations, you need to place it on the rental market or sell. What will you say? This principle must be challenged to avoid a precedent being set. Otherwise, our fundamental rights as European citizens and residents to freely enjoy our property that we've worked so hard for can be diminished. So now let us return back to the wake preparations or the postponement of that. There is still a long road before we will see the end of the Golden Visa legislation. As I mentioned, the government needs legislative competence to change the Golden Visa program. The next step after the announcement is that the government will hold a public consultation with all stakeholders who will put forward their thoughts. I am sure there will be a heated debate between those for and against the proposals. Also, I am sure many will follow the rallying cry that Golden Visa investors are responsible for the increase in property prices, which is as far from the truth as one can get. Golden Visa investments account for just 3% of the entire Portuguese property market. So how can it possibly be that these investors are distorting the property market prices? I guess someone has to be the scapegoat. Following the public consultation phase, government will hold another meeting of the Council of Ministers to discuss and present its final bill, which will be tabled in Parliament. Theoretically, the Socialist Party in government have a majority in Parliament and can effectively approve the measures announced without putting forward further amendments. At this point, I would like to go back to late November 2022, when the Portuguese Communist Party tabled a motion in Parliament to scrap the Golden Visa programme, with the Socialist Party, led by Prime Minister Costa and the Prime Minister himself, voting against this motion. I know, as the saying goes, a week in politics is a long time, but are all the members of Parliament on the government bench going to vote in favour of scrapping the Golden Visa programme, when a few months back they voted against it being terminated? For argument's sake, let's say the bill is approved. Then the bill will be sent to the President of the Republic, who has three options. He can accept the bill and sign it into law. He does not accept the proposal as worded and returns it to Parliament for further amendments. Or the President agrees with the bill but requests the evaluation of the Constitutional Court. So for those of you who have lived or worked in Portugal, just like myself, I would take a deep breath and wait before organizing any wake for the demise of the Portuguese Golden Visa programme, since the saga has just begun and is bound to take several months. Let's be frank, things in Portugal don't happen overnight. May I remind you that the process for the last changes that took effect on the 1st of January 2022 started 2 years earlier in December 2020. The definite is that at some point we will either see a drastically or dramatically different version of what we have today, or the permanent closure of the Golden Visa programme. So suppose you are interested in the Portuguese Golden Visa option. In that case, you have a last window of opportunity. If your application is submitted before the change or closure takes place, your application will proceed under the current law's terms and conditions. If you have any questions about moving to Portugal, please drop them in the comment section below. See you next time, and make it a great day.